Going straight across now to Alicia Magni, our war correspondent and analyst with us from Brussels. Thanks very much for being here. You have extensively covered the area. Let me begin by asking you for your comments on what we are seeing happening right now. This is the 6th day of the war. The escalatory tangent continues, both sides refusing to back down. We also have Donald Trump's statements coming in the midst of all that. Where do you see this heading right now?
Thank you for having me. Well, first of all, we have the Israelis and the Americans saying that the operation is still ongoing, giving very little chances for diplomacy. Actually, nobody is talking about diplomacy. The Americans are talking about the Iranian surrender or facing the destruction of all the nuclear program. And the difference, well, there is no difference between surrendering the nuclear program and destroying the nuclear program. This is why the Iranians prefer to fight back, because it is never what is announced. The Israelis are not limiting their objective to the nuclear program, but they want also to disarm Iran and to eliminate the ballistic missiles and the missile program. Therefore, Iran will remain without any weapons. And we have seen what the Israelis did in Syria, that did not fire a bullet against it. And yet the Israelis went and destroyed everything in the Syrian arsenal, even the Navy, the middle-range missile, the tank, the helicopters, everything. They've left nothing but the light arms. So this is what the Iranians think is going to happen to them if they surrender, and this is why they continue fighting.
Right. We've talked about the latest attack taking place on part of Iran. The Israeli air defense system, much touted system, which has seen several breaches so far. You have covered this specific aspect very extensively as well as through your reportage. Tell us more about to what extent this comes as a twist in the tail in a way, as far as Israel's air defense is concerned.
Israel has several layers of defense system. The first, the deepest one is the THAAD American missiles that the Americans came and installed in Israel. And that reached 3,000 kilometers, because all the ballistic and hypersonic missiles fired by Iran, they go outside the atmospheric pressure. And then they have a lower layer. They have the David Sling, they have the 2 and 3 levels, and then they have the Iron Dome. So anything that escape all these levels, then this is where no interception missile system is perfect. What Iran is using is hypersonic missiles, and the hypersonic missiles are different from the ballistic missile. They maintain a speed between 10 and 15 Mach all the way. They do not variate in speed like the ballistic missiles, and these are extremely hard to be intercepted, in particular when they are fired one after the other in the same location. If they are dispersed, then it is easier, but it is not endless. What the Israelis are saying is they don't have enough interception missile system, despite all allies are helping them. Jordan is helping them. The Americans in Syria and Iraq are helping them. The British and the French are coming to the region in the sea to try and intercept all the missiles that are coming. So many countries are helping Israel, and yet these missiles have proven capable enough to penetrate and reach a very precise target. But today there is a complete blackout from the Iranian and from the Israeli side. They don't want to reveal information about the location, which is understandable in time of war, in particular in Israel, because they want to keep the morale up.
We also have that statement coming in from China just a short while back, a very crucial statement at this point, talking about and telling Oman that they cannot just sit by as the conflict escalates. You mentioned right at the outset, nobody is talking about diplomacy at this point. How optimistic are you of diplomacy actually seeing the light of the day at this point when things are taking this escalatory tangent? Is there any scope for negotiations? Because Donald Trump earlier said that it's too late for Iran to be talking now.
Now, the problem why China is coming in for many reasons. First, because the Silk Road goes through Iran. Yes. And secondly, if the Americans overtly are engaged in this battle, and President Donald Trump is giving different announcement, different interpretation, different word. One day would say yes, another day would say no, maybe. The problem is if Iran understand that the Americans are coming in directly by bombing the Fordo nuclear site that Israel is incapable of doing so, then there is a strong possibility to close the Strait of Hormuz and also all the sea, the maritime road between Asia and the rest of the world. That will cripple the world economy, will increase the price of oil, will affect so many countries in Asia, in Europe in particular, and also in the Middle East, because they cannot export their oil. And the whole area will become very dangerous. And that will affect China and other countries. This is why the Chinese are trying to do something, but they can't for the simple reason. The question is only Israel can stop to the request of the Americans, or when Israel see itself either losing or not achieving its objectives, or want to capitalize on what the tactical gain that they have made, and then understand that there is no point in continuing, then they stop. Because so far, the main objective to destroy the nuclear program and the missile program have not been reached, and are very difficult to reach without boots on the ground and troops going inside Iran. And nobody has appetite to do so. And the other point that is most dangerous is Israel want to create a chaos in Iran and make sure that the regime falls. For the Americans, this is not an option, because there are more than 7 countries bordering Iran. It's a continent, 1.6 million square kilometers, and nobody is going to be in control. The Israelis don't have this experience. The Americans have many experience in coup d'etat and in trying to change regimes. However, they failed in Afghanistan. After 20 years, they gave back the power to the Afghani. They failed in Iraq. They failed in Libya. We see Libya is a chaos. So this is not something that the Americans would like to see doing again and sending troops, because they will be faced with a resistance they don't want to suffer from. So this is where the dilemma in between the Israelis and the Americans, and crippling Iran, and then after the missile program and the nuclear program, hitting its economy and hitting the oil and gas and all the resources, this is where it can lead to a total chaos in Iran. So this is why China is very aware, right. And I think most of Asia would be very concerned about what can happen.
Right. We're leaving it there for the moment, but thanks very much for joining us with those comprehensive perspectives.
Thank you.